Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the TT Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Hey everyone, welcome to May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I know you're like, okay, are you mentally well? Where have you been, and what is going on behind you? Well, as you can see, I'm under a wee bit of construction. So, as is the case, things get worn and we have to replace them. They're not as functional, they're not as comfortable, they don't serve their purpose in the same way. And so, I needed to make some changes to my office space. It's still growing, I'm still in the same office, though it looks very different. I want to shout out Ebony Young. She's been on the podcast before. She helped me by taking me to a place to try to find some economical furniture. You all know how it is. We're trying to save all these coins that we can. And so I think we did good. That's one of my favorites back there in the background, that picture. Doesn't that just look like becoming, embracing, being who it is that you've been called to be? Just it's just beautiful. So we're gonna be making some adjustments, and that's where I've been. I feel like not only was my office under construction, but I was under construction. And I will tell you all, you may be in the same place or a similar place, or maybe you've been in this place before on this journey. And I feel like I just got complacent. I think that I got real comfortable just doing the bare necessities. I used to say when my youngin was a teenager that you're just a minimalist, and not a minimalist in the sense we're eliminating the things that get in our way and allow us not to be able to focus on the beauty around us. So we're conserving and utilizing our space better, but minimalist in that you do the minimum amount possible in order for you to be able to get by. And I just found myself coasting. So come through alliterations. We're going to get those C's in today for Mental Health Awareness Month. And I had to stop and have a conversation with myself about what are you doing? So I think we all get a little bit of fatigue, and there's been a lot going on. Last month, the last couple of weeks of April, it felt like there was nothing but chaos, domestic violence and death and destruction and just absolute chaos. And I found myself just feeling confused. Have you ever gotten to that point where you just are trying to figure out what is happening? What is happening around the world? What is happening in these United of States? What is happening right here in my own household? And really things are in disarray. My purse was in disarray. My house is still in disarray. I also bought some organizational things for my house to try to get some order. And whenever you try to get order, you got to remove stuff, come through. Because that's the thing about when you're under construction, is that you have to critically examine if the things in your life are going to be able to allow you to continue in the path that you're called to be on. And I just, things that I no longer can wear, I'm embracing, kind of, sort of, not really, but that's a conversation for another day. The changes that have happened, you all know I made a big milestone birthday at 50 back in October, and there's just been a lot of changes, and I gotta tell you, a lot of them I haven't liked. So I'm now covering, right? Because I don't like some of the ways my body was looking. I don't like some of the ways I'm feeling. Stuff is creaking, popping, locking, all of the things. And I realized, like, hey, are you actually allowing yourself to adjust to these changes instead of just kind of covering, avoiding, pushing, sliding out of the way, and really thinking about, hey, what is actually working and what isn't working? In my church chat with the ladies, we are just working on trying to hold ourselves accountable to being who we said that we are and showing up for that version of ourselves that deserves the best part of us. And everybody tagged in. Like the struggle was real last week. We eating everything, just doing whatever, just falling off. And so this week we have been very intentional. But one of the things that my girl Ebony recommended was she was like, let's take a look at what went well and what didn't work so well. And in that critically examining, it allows you to be able to really be honest with yourself. I may be doing things, but are they really working? Or am I just doing them again because they're comfortable and they're what I know and I've gotten complacent in them and I'm expecting different from things that are the same. They haven't changed. So why would I expect a different outcome? And so I had to gather myself together and get back on. Lose It is the way that I calorie track. And what I like about calorie tracking is it's a form of accountability. And I think in life we just need some accountability sometimes. I love the Bible apps. Like, let me see, when's the last time I got in this word? I like the organization apps. When's the last time I used these strategies? I like the apps that look at your spending. How am I spending my money? What is my relationship with money? Are the patterns that I started? A lot of us gave up things during Lent and they weren't for temporary. They were meant to be for long term change, though we use them for temporary change for a period of time. But I think it's important for us to understand that the reason I chose these things in the first place to be able to let go of is because I understood they were interfering with me being able to meet my goals. And I think that come on now. Sometimes you have to conserve your resources. Right? And I found myself overextending, as is the case when I am being avoidant of things. And so, what are you being avoidant of, Tarver? Well, so I shared with you all a few months ago that my feelings were a little hurt because I was all excited about having a meeting to discuss my book. Right, and so you all know it has been a labor for me to get this book done. I was so excited when I got it to a stage to have one of my favorite people who's got some outstanding editing skills to look through it and just kind of get it in some order to be able to present it. I know that there's going to be some feedback when the book process happens and all of the things, but I wanted to at least get it to you don't want to be embarrassed. It ain't like the typos and all kinds of stuff in there. Girl, you running sentences and all kinds of things. So I was so excited to have that meeting, and the meeting didn't happen. And what I've realized is I have not done anything with it since that meeting didn't happen because and then here's the complacency piece. I was counting on that being what was going to move me to the next level with the book that I didn't put a contingency in place. I told you I'm tearing these seeds up today. Come on, alliteration. And because I didn't have a contingency in place, then when that didn't work out, I just didn't do anything with it. Like I was organizing my desk today because I got to get a new desk, and looking at the folder where everything is, and I was like, "You're so much better than this." And so I started out on one path, and then I said, "Hey, you know what? You've got to make time. Again, you've gotten comfortable, you've gotten complacent, and you need to challenge yourself to do the thing that it was meant to be in the first place instead of allowing these other distractors to get in the way." So Mother's Day weekend is this weekend, and me in that house, we got a date, and me and looking up some options for where else I might go to discuss getting this book published are. So we just, again, the challenge is that yes, it's hard. Change is hard. It most certainly is. And, I would like to tell you all that I'm excited as a psychologist about change, that every single time that motivation is there, that I'm ready to receive whatever comes along with it, all of the hard work, all of the aches and the pains, all of the challenges. I want to embrace them. I don't. I don't like all the aspects of change. I like the results of change. I like that a lot, right? When I'm on the other side. But sometimes in that journey, I get a little tired, and that is when I realized that I have started doing this, which, if I look back, it's probably a pattern when I get a little fatigued, but that's start stop. We've talked about that before. Start something, you stop. You pick it back up, stop again, start. And but it's beginning to be where that is more common than the actual practice of starting. And I was looking at some things. I was got a new bookcase over here, so looking at the bookcase and getting rid of books that I girl, you haven't. If you don't get rid of those books, you know how you don't want to let go of your textbooks because who paid so much for money for them? Girl, these textbooks are 25 years old. What, ma'am, are you going to be doing with these textbooks? Not a thing. So they could be going somewhere. So I'm getting rid of the things that could actually be used by someone. And was just, found old journals. You know how you start in a journal and then like just don't go back to it. So I got all of these journals where I started, and I love going back to look at where I was at different places because it's a reminder that there's a lot of dreams that can get deferred if they end up being written on these journal pages, shoved on the shelf somewhere. We used to talk about that with dissertations. Like if you don't publish your dissertation, it goes in the file cabinet of abyss, never to be seen or heard from again after you took all of that time and did all of that work. Do something with it so that there is a legacy left behind for all of that research that you did to get at something that's phenomenal, some kind of something, whatever it was that you wanted your outcome to be. And I think that's where I am right now in my journey. And how fitting in Mental Health Awareness Month is like, girl, check your mental. How are you doing? What is going on with you? Let's kind of reassess. And I think that it is in that place where really the change is. And that's my final C word for you. Change is ongoing. It should adapt and adjust, but it should not get to a place of being placed in a drawer in a journal, only to be seen of 10, 15 years later after you clean it off. So, what I will say to you is that there are going to be some things you're going to have to get rid of in this change journey. There are absolutely going to be distractors in this change journey. There are going to be people who are going to want you to stay in the place that you are because the change does not benefit them. However, that doesn't mean that you aren't moving in the right direction. It just means that there might be other people who are added to your team who are going to allow you to be able to finish the change journey. I will also tell you that change is a wee bit expensive because sometimes you've got to make some sacrifices in order for you to change. And so those sacrifices, they might be financial, they may be with your time, they may be with other things that you have interest in. I always say competing interests, the stuff that I really want to do because it's more fun than this thing over here that I know I need to do, right? But in that sacrifice is really where you're going to be able to make that next step, that next level. It starts with small things. I was not truthful. I have one more C. I want you to always remember that you can do all things in Christ who strengthens you. So when that road gets a little weary and your back gets a little tired and you feel a little heavy and downtrodden, and wondering if you made the right choice and if you'll be able to see it through to the end, then the answer is yes, because you were never in the journey by yourself. And so do know that Jesus has been walking with you the whole time. So he's going to see you through to the end. He just needs you to do your part and show up and be what? Consistent. And they just keep coming. They just keep coming. Hey, you all be well. I will see you next week as I get back on track to doing what it is that I have been called to do. And that is to share the good gospel, but also to make sure that I am giving you tips in order for you to be well.